This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Kidnappers, a community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.
Good morning, this is Heiko from the Acupuncture on Air program here in lovely Hawke's Bay, sunny Hawke's Bay, but unfortunately it's bloody freezing Hawke's Bay today. We've got the heaters on, we've got puffer jackets on, but we're still the show must go on. And we're talking today with Ilana from Melbourne, who specialises in the treatments of women's disorders using Chinese medicine. Good morning, Ilana, how are you?
Good morning, Heiko. I'm well.
And I bet you're going to tell me that the weather in Melbourne's lovely. You're warm and you're...
Yeah, well, it was scorching yesterday and today, but then it's going to drop to 15 tomorrow. So.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, well, yeah, we've had a real cold snap over here, but anyway, as we said, the show must go on, and before we do that, I said the show is going really well. We've got over 150 views now on some of our YouTubes, so we're...
It's good. People are listening to them, aren't they?
And it's just great. It's a great opportunity to get that knowledge out there about what Chinese medicine can do. And we're going to continue that legacy, and today we're still talking about women's disorders, but we're going to talk today about amenorrhoea in Chinese herbs. And so first I'm not even going to give you the exam question of how to spell amenorrhoea because it's one of those ones I can never get it right. And I always rely on Google spell check to do it for me. But why don't you tell us about what amenorrhoea actually is?
Sure. So, I suppose it's an ovulatory dysfunction disorder. So, for whatever reason, a woman's not ovulating and hence she's not menstruating. So, in medical terms, there's primary amenorrhea, and that's common in women who they've never gotten a period and they're at least 18 years old. And in Chinese medicine, we would say that they're prenatal essence deficient, so they just haven't got a strong enough constitution to menstruate, and it's genetic and inherited. And there's secondary amenorrhea, which is when the period, a woman has had normal menarche, she's had a normal period as a teenager and whatnot, but for some reason the period has then stopped for at least 3 months, and we would say in Chinese medicine that's a postnatal qi deficiency. So in Chinese it's interesting because they call it bi jing, which means bi means shut or closed, and jing is the menstruation. And obviously that the etymology of the word amenorrhea, it is such a long word, but a means without, meno is moon or menstruation, and rhea is flow. So no moon flow. Yeah.
I didn't realise that. It was actually made common sense. I thought it was just some weird word that they made up.
Yeah, exactly. They conjured up.
Yeah. But I have to say, for me, it's not a common complaint for me that women come in to see me. I mean, unlike things like fertility or period pain and maybe polycystic ovarian disease and that sort of, it's more common and people seek to help. But what about for you, Ilana? Are you getting women coming to you as first sort of port of call and saying, I've got this problem, can you help me?
Yes, absolutely. I think, and women do come because I suppose they get worried that they do realise that the period's not coming, and so in both cases, usually women will come because they want to try to have a baby.
Right.
Hence, they've been on the pill, and it's usually, for fertility, it's usually post-pill amenorrhea, so they've been on the pill for some time, even 10, 15 years, and, the cycle's always been good on the pill. Come off the pill ready to try, and the period disappears. So they'll come to me for that. Right.
Now, in terms of the causes for amenorrhea or no period for that easier term, you've mentioned some before that, there's what we call like gene deficiency or essence, life force insufficiency, but maybe just tell us a little bit more about some of the other causes from a traditional Chinese medicine aspect.
Well, firstly, before I do that, I'm going to say that the number one cause is usually pregnancy.
Right.
And it's interesting because when I got pregnant with my son, Jude, who's 10 now, you wouldn't believe it, but I didn't know I was pregnant, and I was doing pregnancy tests and throwing them out before the 2 lines would appear.
Right.
So I found out when I was like 11 weeks.
Right.
So I had amenorrhea. But anyhow, yeah, look, there can be excess or deficient patterns with Chinese medicine. So from a deficiency perspective, it could be liver and kidney deficiency. There could be qi and blood deficiency, and that's probably common with, vegans and sometimes vegetarians, or yin deficiency perhaps in older women. And then the excess condition where obviously there's blockage, there's a physical blockage in the body, qi and blood stagnation, or damp phlegm obstructing the uterus.
Yeah, so like in summary, we have what we call deficiency 1 and then excess type blockage ones. And obviously with that, there's a whole range of different formula and different herbs that could be used. So, what about you tell us some, at least like a couple of them or a few of them. I know we couldn't go into all of them, but, just give us a bit of an idea.
Yeah, look, I'll mention a couple. First of all, the thing to remember is that it is important to see a Chinese herbalist and get a proper prescription, because it's interesting, like you can get patent formulas. So, for example, if I'm talking about Ba Jiang Tang, which is a qi and blood tonic, so that would treat the deficiency pattern of qi and blood deficiency. So when a woman, she might be low in iron, she might be tired all the time, whatnot. But the thing is, we might modify the formula. Like we might take out the Bai Shao, which is the white peony root, and put in the Qi Shao, which is the red peony root, to make it more of a blood-moving, give it more a blood-moving aspect to encourage the period to come. And, we can add herbs to that, like Sangjishen and Gochizha to tonify the liver blood, and then Xiang Fu to move the liver qi as well. Or another one would be Tao Hong Siwu Tang. So if they have blood stagnation, we could use that. It's just a very good, gentle formula. And obviously it has blood-moving and nourishing herbs. But, we can put another herb in like Zilan, which would break up the blood. And, Mu Xiang, Xiang Fu, Niu Shi to move qi as well. So,
yeah, that's good, because one thing what I would like to say in the show, that you've got to be a bit wary of Google and and the herb companies trying to sell you a product, and because you can probably just type in Amenorrhoea Chinese herbs, and then the first 2 pages will be 3 or 4 formulas, different companies trying to sell it, and of course then people think, oh well, this is all there is to it, and that's what you do. And I do know that I've had patients over the years, like for example, they've had yin deficiency, classically Chinese medicine yin deficiency, which for our listeners and viewers there means there's a lot of internal heat associated with the condition. And then they've read somewhere else on the internet, that deer horn or lurong, it's good for estrogen, or it's good for, something or other.
Oh, yeah.
So they start taking this thing, and then they come and they say, it's working me well. It's cleaning me right out. It's making me sweat at night, and I'm, getting fevers during the day to push out the toxins. And I say, no, you're actually seriously damaging your health. So,
terrible.
And I know it's a difficult one to think, because this day and age is like everyone is self-diagnosing. But and what about with you, Ilana? You getting patients now with their own sort of Google diagnosis and prescribing themselves a formula? Yeah,
absolutely. Because obviously they try and do that. They try and self-prescribe, and then I suppose they reach a point where it's not working and things aren't good. And it's fascinating, because that's a really challenging aspect of Chinese herbal medicine, because, the public can access any formula, really, willy-nilly. And there are so many problems with that, because they don't know the source. Like, are they the proper herbs? Because you can have herbs that look similar, but they're different species. Are they, have they been tested properly? And also, this is the problem. I think a lot of people, when they self-prescribe, they can do more damage than good.
Yeah, well, I know in China itself, I think there's a stat, a practitioner to me is that 12% of the patients coming to see the herbalist have caused problems by self-prescribing, from old folklore remedies or what their grandmother told them to take or what their neighbour was taking, so they took it as well. But
exactly.
People have to learn. Now, you already mentioned quite a few formula and herbs there, but just one that I'd like to talk about is dongwei and angelica root, because it's really been popularised, and pretty well. I know you can go into the health food store here in New Zealand anyway, and if you're female and you say, I've got some female, here, dongwei is the big Chinese herb, and of course, you and I know that. Well, it's probably not the case. But if you have some ideas, just give us a little bit about the pros and cons of this. I'll call it a marketable fad.
Yeah, well, look, it's interesting. I was in a health food store yesterday, and they were selling dongwei for, maybe it was 100 capsules, but it wouldn't have been very much. Maybe 40 grams for $40.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I know. You can buy about...
That's quite expensive.
You can buy about, 90... I don't know. Probably buy 3 kilos or something, of that herb. Yeah.
You could, and I think, gosh, that makes our formulae so affordable, because if you think about it, you're getting a prescribed formulae. But I think, and look, it is a very good herb, and at one point I was giving it to fertility patients on top of their herbs to take it as a tea weekly with red dates. Mm-hmm. But I do wonder if it is taken, you might know this better than I, if it's taken with as classically Chinese cooked, like the Chinese do in a soup, is it better perhaps, absorbed as a food rather than just a pure herbal tonic?
Yeah, we're just getting a bit of a crackly noise here. Is that everything okay, Ken? Just at Ilana's end, you might have to move to the hallway or something. No. Well, I think I know in China with and women generally with dongwei, it is regarded and it's pretty well just used as a food, as a herb, particularly after the menstrual cycle. Cooked with chicken and red dates. And that seems to give the the better and honestly from a money point of view, when you buy $40, you buy 40 little pills or something, as I said, you can buy 3 kilos of the stuff from the your Chinese grocery store.
Exactly. I found a good study. It was from the BMJ Open, and it was a feasibility study conducted on Chinese herbal medicine for irregular periods in amenorrhoea. Mm-hmm. And they actually found that they used a variety of herbal formulae, but they all had good effect.
Yeah.
And they were all safe as well. And I mean, it was a pilot study, so only 40 participants. But that was for 6 months, and they were taking 16 grams of Chinese herbal medicine per day.
Yeah.
And there was a statistical significant improvement.
No, that's really good news to have. But listen, I think we're coming up towards the end of our show again, and as I said, this was our second last one. So then we've got our last one coming up in a couple of weeks, which will be on menopause. So that'll obviously prove to be very popular and very useful and educational too. Yeah. And so then we're going to see you in 2 weeks, Ilana. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Great to discuss with you as always.
Yep.
Thank you, Ken.
No worries. Good to talk to you.
Yep. And we're going to...
He's like God, isn't he? He just kind of comes in every now and then.
That's right, exactly.
And so we're going to finish off our show with a song by
what song are you going to play today?
Called Bloody Sunday. And I just wanted to check with Ken, is it an U2 song or a U2 song?
Well, I'm a bit of a peasant, but I would say a U2 song.
U2.
What would you say, Ilana?
I'd say AU2. AU2.
Yeah. Wouldn't you rather have a Bay City Rollers song, though?
Actually, I really love that song. Good choice, Heiko.
All right. Look forward to it. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Excellent. Have a great day, guys.
Okay.
Take it easy. Bye.
Here's the song.
Bye.
This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Kidnappers, a community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.